Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Irrelevant, the podcast. I'm your host, Marissa Womack, and I am here with a very special guest, Ellie Grace. And this is the J episode where we're gonna actually talk a little bit about Greek life. But before we do, I'm gonna let Ellie go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi guys, I'm Ellie. I am a sophomore at the University of South Carolina with Marissa. I am an education major and I hope to be an education lawyer when I grow up. So it's a little bit about myself. Oh, and I'm from Greenville, South Carolina.
I didn't know that was your major.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what I thought it was. I feel like I thought it was like somewhere in business. I just feel like everyone is business.
You could never catch me being a business major. Absolutely not.
Oh, God.
I'm horrible at math. So, I could not do accounting or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so we can just go ahead and jump into it. So, I previously in episodes, viewers and listeners know that I have, kept my sorority name out of everything. Even in my the last episode that was just uploaded, we talk about sorority and Greek life a little bit and touch on our positions, but I do make sure to keep it confidential just with nationals, and just because every sorority is different, no one needs to be judged on their sorority, which we will talk about. So me and Ellie have similar beginning stories, and Ellie will jump more into the end of her story. But we can start with recruitment and how that went.
Yeah, so we can talk about both sides of recruitment, since I know we've both experienced going through the recruitment process, and then also getting new members and recruiting girls ourselves. For me, I did fall recruitment my freshman year, so I did, going through all the houses with all the basic stuff you can imagine, the chants, the dresses, all the stuff in the movies is, I guess, what I did. Did you go through fall recruitment as well?
Yeah, I was in a COB.
Got it. Yeah, it's it's everything you see in the movies. I know, a lot of people are like, sororities aren't what you think they are, whatever, but recruitment is. It's maybe being a part of the sorority itself isn't as it's portrayed in the media and stuff, but when you go through recruitment, it's sorority. It's very Greek life. It's girls in your face, the awkward conversations you have, everything is so surface level, in my opinion. But I enjoyed it. I met a lot of people, but it was not a reflection of my experience in an actual sorority at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that recruitment, you have to follow the cookie cutter, everything like that. And just going through the process, you have to know exactly what you can and can't say, which is hard for incoming freshmen. People get hurt, especially for South Carolina specifically. Our first round is virtual, and so it's completely based on a video.
For sure. I know that my video when I went through recruitment was horrible. But I had a really, really good GPA, and I had a lot of extracurriculars and stuff. And I got recommendations, which technically don't make you any better nowadays, but they still make you stand out a little bit. And so even though my video sucked, I still got back most of the houses that I really wanted, minus just one or two, but those were the very top of the top tier here. So I didn't expect to get one of those houses back, but yeah. It's crazy how much you get judged in the beginning of recruitment based on just a video. like sitting in front of a computer and talking about your life.
Yeah, I remember for me, my video took me probably 2 hours. I wore this specific outfit for this one specific sorority because my recruitment process, like, going into recruitment, I knew all of the stereotypes, which, like, I highly do not recommend going in knowing them, just because it, like, does skew your view on the recruitment process. My big actually recruited me, and I, like, seriously can't see a better fit for myself personally. I remember I dropped going into pref, and then I remember I went home and I cried because we had like a 3-day gap because we have the longest recruitment in the nation. I cried. I called my pie guys. I was like, what the heck? And to break a few of these terms that I just listed for you guys, so basically the rounds of recruitment goes your, like, hometown, right? Yeah. And then second round is sisterhood.
Which is the video.
Yeah. And then your third round... Oh, wait. Second round is philanthropy. Third round is sisterhood. And then preference. And then bid day. But ours, we break it down longer, just because our philanthropy, we take, like, 2 or 3 days, I think. 3 days. And then 2 days of sisterhood.
In the beginning, we submit our videos and all the sororities see them. And then you technically, it's like we have 12 Panhellenic sororities here. So then you drop down to 10 for philanthropy, and you go in each of those 10 houses for 30 minutes. Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so 13, but you still drop down to 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's for philanthropy, and I think philanthropy was like 3 days this year just because you're going in so many houses and there's thousands of girls also doing it with you. And then sisterhood, you drop down to 6, and you go into those 6 houses for 45 minutes. And then pref, you drop down to 2, and you go in those 2 houses for an hour. And then bid day.
Yeah, and that's, like, if you get, like, 10 houses back, 6 houses back, 2 houses back. Because some people go into pref with, like, 1 house. Or, like, I went into sisterhood with 5. Like, I got 10 the first round, and then I got dropped by 5. Like, again, I literally cried. And I can't, like, imagine opening up my shirt. And also, like, a weird thing that we do compared to other SEC schools and, like, schools around the nation, is our bid day, instead of getting, like, your invitation, you you get your t-shirt, and you're standing in a group with your pie guys, and your pie guys are, like, Rogams at some places, or, like, something else at, like, others, but you stand in a circle with your pie guy group, and your hands are behind your back, and they, like, hand you a t-shirt, and then you, like, flip it around when they count down, you, like, open it up, and then you, like, sprint out, and you're in, like, the Coliseum and the arena, and so you, like, run out, and, like, it's all these, like, sororities chanting, and then you, like, find the one that you got, and then you, like, it's like, actually, that is what I would say is a movie. Like, on bid day, seeing all of that is crazy.
Oh, for sure. It's like you expect it to be big, and then you run out, because, like, when we do our t-shirts, we're in, like, the back of it's like a huge basketball arena. We're in, like, the back, and then we all are just, like, sprinting into this basketball arena with these girls who are dressed in, like, a theme, and then you have to, like, find your people, and then you have, like, what's called, like, a bid day buddy, and they are kind of like your mentor for the first week, and then, like, we have, like, a little party out. It's not like an actual party. It's like hors d'oeuvres and taking pictures, basically. Yeah. Where you, like, meet all your new sisters or whatever.
Yeah, and my bid day buddy was my big.
My bid day buddy was my big's best friend. So she, we have this thing here at USC, and it's basically like, because during sorority rush, it's all dry. You're dry, so you can't drink, you can't go out. Like, if you're caught during rush out in 5 points partying, like, you're dropped from the recruitment process. It's kind of insane. And so here, it's kind of a tradition for your bid day buddy to take you. My bid day buddy brought my big with her.
But for UGA, I know that they literally get their bid, they take pictures, they go take shots, and then they, like, the frats all host a party for them, and they literally, like, just party hop the rest of the night on bid day. Like, that's just, like, how bid day is at UGA.
I mean, my bid day buddy told me to tell people that I am in a different sorority because we aren't, like, I guess I wasn't supposed to, like, tell people what sorority I was in when we were, like, at, like, going out and stuff, that was very odd to me. I don't know if you were told that at all, but it was a shocker for sure.
But, I mean, for me specifically, like, my sister was in a sorority, my mom was not, but my sister, like, kind of, and my best friend, she's in a sorority, so I kind of knew the rundowns of, like, how everything was. Like, I knew I was always going to be a sorority girl, like, going into college, and so I knew, like, to keep everything clean. Like, even with my podcast, I never cussed on my podcast, and that's, like, also just because of, like, job-wise, but I knew that, like, for a sorority specifically, like, I didn't do any of that.
Yeah, my sister was in a sorority in college, which kind of going back to when you said in recruitment, when you go into recruitment, don't limit yourself or whatever, because when I went into recruitment, I was a legacy for one of the top sororities here at USC, and I went in with a legacy, it's what I wanted to be in desperately. And I went in with a legacy title. I had an exec position on their charity. I had 3 recommendations, one from the former president of the sorority. And I got blacklisted round 1 because a girl I went to middle school with didn't like me. And she had, like, pull in her sorority, in that specific sorority, which, looking back now, I know that if I had joined that sorority, I would not have fit in whatsoever. So it's definitely, like, I don't know. I kind of knew what I was getting myself into, but at the same time, I didn't.
Mm-hmm. I ended up figuring out where I was placed on my second option. Yeah, my second option, like, I was out one night, and I ran into their president, and she was, like, no longer in term, and she was like, I just want you to know, I don't know how you got your sorority, because you were this place on ours. Yeah. And they, like, told me the term that I was. Great. I, like, only talked to exec.
And I don't know how it works for other sororities, but for my previous sorority, I mean, it's a lot more intense than you think it is. And even a lot of the stuff that we do, actually recruiting girls, there's a whole other team that handles the deeper stuff. So there's stuff in recruitment that, like, when we're recruiting you, we don't even know what's going on. And it's crazy to me, and I don't think a lot of people understand that, is, like, everything is done in a very specific way for a very specific reason.
I didn't go through work week because I had an internship, so I have, like, absolutely no idea how that was. And I won't be at work week, like, this year. Like, I won't be recruiting this year, I don't think, because of my other internship. But, like, we would come home from recruitment, and my roommates would tell me, like, everything that they would do. Like, my one roommate, she recruited every single round.
I did. I recruited and bumped every single round. And it was intense. But it was a lot of fun. I liked meeting all the new people, and I really felt like I had a say in it. And even though most of the girls that I recruited did not end up going into my sorority, but the one in particular, I recruited her for like all 3 rounds. I recruited her for the last 2 rounds. So sisterhood, and then I preffed her, and then she was my bid day buddy. And I think that is something really special, is having that opportunity to watch a new member go through all the different rounds and having the opportunity to actually talk to people. The only thing is, like, there are girls that don't talk to people at all during recruitment, which is very odd to me. But I think that I was glad to have the opportunity to talk to a lot of girls and participate a lot in recruitment.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, I didn't think that I was going to be able to recruit at all. And given that my big was, like, the head of all of recruitment, like, that was just really hard for me to, like, grasp. But I knew that, like, I was giving all of that up, taking my internship. But then I kind of watched everyone else through recruitment. I participated, like, I was always on the floor. You're behind the scenes, you get to see a lot more, but also, like, keeping morale up, like, for the other girls.
Recruitment is a very tough process, and, like, it's tough for the PNMs, and it's also tough for us. And I think when girls walk into the house and see us, like, we have like perfect makeup, perfect hair, we have these dresses that all are matching, not matching, but, like, the same color, the same vibe. Like, we all look so put together, but, like, what people what the girls don't see is, like, at my house, in the kitchen, we used to go hide in the kitchen. I took so many naps in the kitchen during recruitment, just, like, on the floor, because it is tiring. I mean, we are there, we would get there at, like, 6 in the morning. And then we would be there until, like, 7 o'clock, and then have to come back later. Like, and we're in high heels. Like, it is intense, and it's a lot of work. And it's a lot of work because of the traditions that I think each sorority has, and the things that, like, nationals requires us to do, and the rules that nationals requires us to follow. But I think it's worth it in the end, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially, like, seeing, like, all of the girls that you get is, like, super nice. It's just a very rewarding feeling. But COB, which neither of us are COB, so we can't really, like, talk about the feeling of, like, being recruited as a COB, but I got to recruit 2 girls. And COB is continuous open bidding, so much more relaxed, and usually that's just, like, spring recruiting instead of fall recruitment, so you don't, like, do all the chanting and all of that stuff, because it's usually, like, from, like, 2 girls to, like, 20 girls kind of thing. And some sororities don't even do COB, which is so crazy, because if you know regular recruitment, you can't talk about the 5 Bs, which are boys, Biden, Bible, booze, and bills.
During regular recruitment, I mean, you are, like, walking on eggshells talking to these girls from both sides of it, because most of the girls that come into the house have been told by their pie guys, don't talk about the 5 Bs. So, like, you can't talk about fraternities, you can't talk about your boyfriend, you can't talk about boys from your hometown. I mean, that's obviously boys, and then politics, religion, what we've talked about. You are, like, walking on eggshells, because, like, if it gets brought up, like, if you're recruiting girls and that girl tells her pie guy, you get in trouble.
My pie guy ended up actually being head pie guy, which was really cool, just because, like, she literally ran, like, everything for us. Like, I went to her about everything, and I still see her and my other pie guy on campus, and, like, they were great. I loved them. But yeah, I ratted her out so quick.
I love her.
I'm not getting in trouble.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, you gotta cover your own ass in these situations.
guys have like a different view on rankings. Northern guys have a different view. Like Southern guys, girls have different rankings. Just because, like, it really is so different. But like, that kind of associates with frat guys and group chat. Not saying that like they don't want them. It's just like the frats are like, oh, it's like a nationals thing. Like, nationals won't let us have it, blah, blah. It's just all bullshit. But I know, like, even frats that are kicked off campus or, like, club hockey, club rugby, like, they have group chats with, sororities, which is so weird. Like, you're an athletic group. Like, you're not even a frat. Like, why do you have this group chat in the first place? But the whole, like, group chat and, like, ranking, it's just all so stupid. And, like, going into recruitment, I would just say, like, don't look at it all. Like, it really doesn't matter. Like, you're gonna find your people. Like, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I think that that's, like, one thing that does, unfortunately, live up to its reputation a little bit is, like, the stereotypes of sororities in fraternities' eyes, if that makes sense, right? Because as a girl that was in a sorority, I had friends from all different sororities or whatever, and I loved them all, and they were all great girls, and I think it's so sad to see them get reduced based on an online website or opinions that are old as this school is. I love Greek life. I don't regret joining Greek life and being a part of my old sorority, but I will say that I think parts of it are just so stupid. I just think that there's so much judgment based on whatever letters you wear that, I mean, and that tradition is old as time. You go to any school, there will always be a best and there will always be a worst, and I think that it's just the way it is, and that's one part of Greek life that always made me a bit uncomfortable, being someone who was a weirdo in high school. I was so weird in high school. I did not have friends. I was in band, which, no hate to band kids, love my band kid roots, but like, and then I went to college and I joined this sorority, and then watching girls like me who kind of were just ended up getting rejected, kind of like how I felt in high school, was really upsetting to me. Especially because I was friends with a lot of girls in those sororities, and I think that's a part of Greek life that I was ashamed of, and now I'm like proud to say that I'm not a part of that anymore.
Yeah, we can kind of go into the last little bit about just like your end of your story, your sorority Greek life.
Story.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I joined freshman year. I loved it. I loved the first year. It was a lot of fun. It was, meeting tons of new girls. I met my best friends in my entire life, and I live with 3 of them now. 2 of them, but the other one's moving in next year. And 3 of us, we forfeited our membership, is what we say. And one of the girls is still in it, and we no hate towards her. I mean, that's her thing, and I'm glad that it makes her happy. And I ended up dropping because my beliefs no longer aligned with the things that were getting said and the things that were happening behind the scenes at my sorority. I had a big thing go down that kind of ruined my experience, which was really upsetting to me. And I ended up not getting a little, which sucked, and was one of my big reasons for wanting to continue through this year, was getting a little. I mean, that's one of the most special parts of joining a sorority, I feel like, is getting a little, getting a big, having a family. It's like a place where you belong, which was a big deal to me because, like I said, I was a weird band kid in high school. And so feeling like I had another family and I felt like I belonged was really important to me. And then when everything went down and I was denied a little, it crushed me. And I think that was kind of my last straw of looking at it and being like, this is not right. Like, this whole situation is not right. I don't believe in a couple of the things that happened earlier in the year with the sorority that were just kind of swept under the rug a little bit. It's just, and I'm not saying my old sorority is bad at all. I'm just saying personally, I realized there were more important things for me to worry about. But I don't regret my experience in Greek life at all. We did a lot of stuff for charity, genuinely, and I think that was amazing to watch and be a part of and meet the people we were helping and the kids we were helping, and just it was really fulfilling. But I just decided that it was time for me to go. And I think that's that brings back up nationals, because my issue was not with girls in my sorority here. It was with nationals and the way that nationals handled a couple of situations. And I think that's really sad, because I love the girls in the chapter here and I love this chapter. But I got to a point where I was ashamed to be a part of an organization that handled certain things the way that they did. And there's no hate towards any girls here, because it was not their decision and it was not their anything. It got sent to nationals and it was done. So, I forfeited my membership. There's a lot of paperwork you have to do, some steps you have to take. I can no longer wear letters. I can no longer, go to events and all that kind of stuff, kind of just the obvious stuff. But yeah.
Hi guys, if you're watching this, ignore my appearance. I'm editing. This is at the end of the episode, before the conclusion, so you can keep watching for the conclusion, but I just wanted to discuss a few things that weren't talked about in this episode. Obviously I just want to start with, whenever I have guests on, it's their episode, it's their stories. I'm never going to push them to talk about things that they aren't comfortable or legally allowed to talk about. And that is what happened in this episode. I didn't push Ellie to talk about things. It was just a conversation, and that's how every episode should feel like. And that's how I want them to come across as. But obviously, because it was Ellie's episode, and there are things that we couldn't talk about, I wasn't going to boast how much I love my chapter. I have other episodes where I've done that, and I don't think it's fair to do that to her face. And obviously, she knows that I'm doing this part. She knows that I'm adding this in. But there are a few things that I just kind of want to add about my chapter as a whole and the idea of Greek life and everything like that. Obviously, it's not for everybody. South Carolina is very welcoming, in the sense of you don't have to be in a sorority to go out and have fun. You don't have to be in a sorority to do these events, to have friends. There's just there's so many different other opportunities that you can do outside of Greek life. And we're very fortunate to go to an SEC school that isn't predominantly Greek life. However, growing up in the state of Georgia and having a sister and best friends that are in Greek life, I knew I was always going to be a sorority girl. I didn't know how beneficial it was going to be in my life. All of my bridesmaids are in my sorority, if not in a different sorority. And I've been able to meet so many amazing people inside it and outside of Greek life. networking, being outside, having my letters, wearing my letters. I'm always wearing my letters. You're always wearing your letters. Having other people come up to you from different chapters, different schools, different alums, things like that. Like, there's just always people in Greek life that are there to support you, and to give you opportunities, which I'm very grateful for. I'm also on a committee, like I was in committees, now I'm a committee head. Having opportunities to grow in yourself, grow in your community, grow in your chapter, grow in your friends, grow in your opportunity is something that I wouldn't have had if not for my sorority. Genuinely, I could not talk more highly of the chapter that I'm in, the people that I've met. My family alone, we have like little families. My littles, which will be on an episode, in 2 episodes, they are built-in best friends. Like sisters in general, and then bigger sisters. Like, I have a sister, and now I have 300 sisters on top of having 2 littles, a grandbig, a big, a great grand. Like, our family's huge, and I'm still close with all of them, and they are all mentors to me, and I get to be a mentor to someone else. And that is what Greek life is. You get to grow in your community. You get to uplift and empower women, and that's the whole point of being in a sorority. And obviously, some people's experiences are different. They end differently. And it's not that, like Ellie has said, it's not that she would change anything in her specific chapter. There's just obviously higher laws, higher traditions that cannot be changed. And those are things that are still developing, are being worked on like year after year as we grow in generations. And I know that Greek life has such a bad stigma around it when it comes to social media. I know TikTok, like, people are always shitting on sororities, which isn't fair because people don't know how much a sorority can really change someone's life. And it can, like, say, for instance, you are on an exec position and it's something that you didn't know that you wanted to do in the future, and now you do, and you get to grow in those experiences, and boom, now you met all of these cool connections that have offered you internships. Like, there's so many different ways, and obviously I'm not like, you have to like go find my sorority, join my sorority. Obviously not. Each sorority is different. Each one has different ideals, morals, whatever you're looking for, you can probably find it. So that is just kind of what I wanted to add to this specific episode, because I know obviously the recruitment process and talking about that has a lot of negativity around it, and it can be negative for a few girls. Like, if you think that you are going to be in a specific sorority and you get dropped, it's not gonna feel good on your ego. I'm being honest. Like, I got dropped. I talked about being dropped. I got dropped a lot, and I couldn't have found a better home. Like, I wouldn't be where I am in my college experience if it weren't for my sorority and like for the girls that I've met through Greek life. So that is just kind of what I want to put out there to end this episode, because I truly am grateful to even have the opportunity, have the finances to be able to be in a community like this, and an empowering group of women to constantly be a support system and to constantly be there throughout it all. So now I will get into the conclusion. Well, that is everything on both of our experiences. Obviously, it's kind of your decision. I'm still in a sorority. Ellie is not, but she, like, really, I don't think would change anything that... I mean, obviously, there's a few things that I feel like you would change.
There's a few things I would change, but yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, don't listen to what other people say. Don't listen to the guys. Choose what really does feel like home, and I feel like I've been hounding that for, like, the past 3 episodes of, like, South Carolina felt like home. My sorority felt like home for me. Like, you just, like, will find your people. You'll find your place. Yeah, so don't listen to anyone. The next episode is Kay, and I have Karen coming on for that episode. But I just want to say thank you, Ellie, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So I will see you guys next week.